Welcome everybody who is joining us here for the first ever virtual Clean Water Fest brought to you by your friends at the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. We are very excited to have you here with us today. Today is the first day of 5 days worth of broadcasts where we will bring you a Clean Water Fest experience like never before. I'm happy to be broadcasting here from the Clean Water Fest studios. I will call them that for this week here at the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District headquarters. And we are actually using a real backdrop. This isn't a video backdrop. There's actually things behind me here. And we're setting things up for a great week's worth of broadcasts and experiences with you. My name is John Gonzalez. I work in our communication department. You may know me from our social media efforts, and you can call me John G at NEORSD. We're hoping to be able to hear from you along the way. As we bring you some content that you've never had before, we're going to debut some videos, we're going to have some interviews, and talk to people that you will get a chance to learn from the front lines of what it means to protect our water resources and public health here in Northeast Ohio. I want to start with a question. How many of you have ever attended our open house or Clean Water Fest in the past? Okay, I can't see any of you anyway, but I'm hoping that some of you have your hands up because Clean Water Fest is our annual celebration of all things water, as we say. And we welcome thousands of people to come see our facilities for a Saturday every year in September. And this year is giving us a new opportunity to bring you an experience that you can enjoy at home. You may be watching from from a classroom right now. You may be a teacher sharing some of this information with your students. You may be at your office and sharing some of this information with your colleagues about the work that goes on here at the Sewer District. And we are very glad that all of you are tuned in. And we have 5 days worth of experiences that we believe you're going to be very much interested in. And we're looking forward to sharing our stories with you and hearing from you along the way. So let me show you a few things that we're going to be getting into over the course of this week. Clean Water Fest is not only a celebration, but it's also about education, because we definitely believe it's important for us to share our work with the community. The reality is you are impacted by our work every single day. If you are a Northeast Ohio resident, the water that goes down your drain, the water you see flowing in streets after a storm, that water needs to be cared for and managed and then made sure it gets back to the environment safely. And that's where we come in. And we're glad to tell that story. And Clean Water Fest is a way that we can share it with you in a way that's exciting and educational. And we hope you'll be engaged with us for the next several days worth of broadcasts. What are you going to see? Every day has a different theme, and you're going to have a chance to see us in a way that perhaps you've never seen before. You'll have a chance to see some of our treatment plants. We're going to bring you on a treatment plant tour and have you take a walk with some of our employees along the way to see what happens at our treatment plants. You'll also have a chance to hear from our employees. As I mentioned, some new faces are on the scene for our broadcast here this year, including some live interviews with people who are doing the work. And we hope to hear from you along the way and ask some of the questions that we know are very common when it comes to what happens in our treatment plants, what happens in our facilities, what happens underground in the sewers that you may never see, what's happening in our laboratory. These are all great stories and great questions to ask, and we're going to ask those of our experts here who know how to answer them certainly much better than I can. You'll have a chance to see, as I mentioned, the people who are doing the work and the kind of work, the variety of work that's taking place here at the Sewer District every single day. And you'll also see what those benefits are, how the Cuyahoga River and how Lake Erie and our streams are benefiting from this great work and the work we've been doing for decades now. The reality is you may be only seeing this work for the first time, and we're hoping to make this interesting for you and be able to give you content you can share with the people around you. We'll do our best to entertain you along the way. I can guarantee that the people you're going to hear from definitely have personalities to give you the information you're looking for in a way that will keep you tuned in every day of the week. Maybe you're watching this after Clean Water Fest week because thankfully we're able to share this with you in our archived cleanwaterfest.com website for future use. So you might be a student watching this sometime in the winter, sometime over the spring, and you are just now getting to understand what this work is all about and how we fit in the water cycle of Greater Cleveland. We're excited to share this story with you no matter when you're watching it, live on our broadcast or sometime afterwards. There's a lot to talk about and a lot to share. Today is just day one. 5 days of broadcast, but today is day one, so we want to set the stage for you. We're going to have 3 special interviews coming at you a little bit later during this broadcast. We want to start off by helping you understand how water flows in our region. The best way to start our experience is by starting with you, no matter where you are. So look around your area, find out where you are. Maybe you're at home, maybe you're in a classroom. I hope you know where you are, but no matter where that is, It's going to be a chance for you to see where you fit in that water cycle, what we call the urban water cycle. Our experts, Jessica and Ebony, are going to share that story with you now. So stay tuned. Check this out. We'll hear from them a little bit later after the broadcast ends to tell you a bit more about the water cycle and how that fits into our Clean Water Week's worth of broadcast. So check this out.
Wow, Ebony, Edgewater Beach is so beautiful. What a great day.
I am so glad we're down here today.
So, Ebony, can you remind me again, why are we at Edgewater Beach today?
We're going to talk about the urban water cycle.
What's the urban water cycle?
You know, Jessica, Lake Erie is the best place to start talking about our urban water cycle. If you think about it, the Great Lakes is where we get our fresh drinking water from, and our friends at Cleveland Water are responsible for cleaning the water. From there, it's delivered to our homes, our businesses, where we go to school.
So once I use the water at home, Ebony, I see the water goes down the drain, but I'm not really sure, where does it go?
So at the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, we're like the superpower of the city. If you think about everything that's hidden underground, all of our sewers are taking the pee and the poop all to the wastewater treatment plant where we begin our process to start cleaning the water.
How many wastewater treatment plants do we have, Ebony?
We actually have 3, a southerly plant, a westerly plant, and an easterly plant.
So, Ebony, once that dirty water gets to the wastewater treatment plants, what happens next?
Well, we're responsible for making sure that water is clean. After we make sure that it's clean, it's ready to be recycled back into Lake Erie or the Cuyahoga River. So, Jessica, you can think about the urban water cycle as a giant recycling process. We've been using the same water since the dinosaurs have roamed the earth.
So, Ebony, just to kind of summarize this, we get the water from Lake Erie and Cleveland Water cleans it up and puts it out to our homes and our schools and businesses. We use it, make it dirty, and it goes to one of the 3 wastewater treatment plants. We clean it up there, and then we just ship it right back out to Lake Erie. It's like an endless cycle, right?
You pretty much got it right.
Wow, Ebony, now I think I got the urban water cycle. I think that this is going to be an awesome virtual Clean Water Fest.
Heck yeah.
Now, the stars of our video, Jessica Schutte and Ebony Hood, who you just saw, it may be surprising, but they are not Hollywood actors. They are actual staff of the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, and we are glad to have them on our team. And I'm joined by both Jessica and Ebony to talk a little bit more about the urban water cycle and talk about the work that you saw in that video to kind of set the stage for what Clean Water Fest is all about. Jessica and Ebony, thank you for joining us. We're very glad that you're with us to talk a little bit about the work that you do. So let me start there. Jessica, what does a day at work with Jessica Schutte and Ebony Hood look like at the sewer district?
So Ebony and I are community relations specialists at the sewer district, and a typical day in the life of Ebony and Jessica is getting out in the community, talking with kids, teachers, just actual residents. We talk with senior citizens. We go to public meetings, just talking about the work that we do. We have some fun with it. Scholastically, we get to go to the schools and do science experiments and fun things like that. And then we also have a serious role where we have to kind of explain the work that we do, why rates are increasing. And we also do sponsorships and work with our community partners. So it's quite a day to be Ebony and Jessica.
So really, when we say community relations, there is a lot that has to do with the relationships. It's all about trying to make those connections for the people, whether they are ages 6, 7, 8, or whether they're all the way up to seniors who are just learning about how to save money on their bill. It really runs the gamut in those areas. Is that right?
Right.
The feature of this video, and so Ebony, I want to turn it over to you. The feature of this video is really about the urban water cycle. And the urban water cycle may seem pretty straightforward, but really there's a lot to it that people might not realize. The urban water cycle seems like such a simple idea, how water flows from one point to another. And the reality is that it might not be as simple as a lot of people think. So why do we start here when we have this conversation with the public about the work that we do?
That's a great question, John G. And I'm so glad to be here today with my colleague Jessica. So let's get on this thing called the urban water cycle. For us, when we think about connecting with students, it's all about place-based learning. Most of the time, you have to orient folks back to Lake Erie. If you can imagine, students will oftentimes talk about the ocean, and they're mentioning things like, we get it from salt, we get our water from the ocean, it's salt water. And we're like, no. So we try to hone in and kind of tell them how our water cycle works. From a child, you always learn about precipitation, evaporation, condensation, but we like to talk about how water flows through our pipes. So that's so important for us to orient our students and even our adult audience, a lot of times who associate everything with drinking water. And no one really remembers the other side of the house about what goes down a drain or the number ones and the number twos when we're flushing the toilet. So the urban water cycle we use as a key message to just orient folks to how water flows in our environment and where we show up as the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District for actually cleaning the water and sending it back out into Lake Erie or the Cuyahoga River.
Yes, I think what I think you said there's a lot that you said that is very important. What I wanted to focus on is the fact that people connect to what they see. And there's so much that people talk about and see as it relates to the oceans, and so much that there's so many stories that go along with that, and people have an emotional connection with it. They don't realize that the urban water cycle features our own natural resources right in our backyard. The Great Lake, Lake Erie, it's right here, and it's our source of drinking water. We have to make that connection with people. And a simple illustration that you see on screen here with the urban water cycle helps to make that connection. And getting water from point A to point B is really something that people need to understand to figure out where we fit in that cycle, but also where they as residents, as customers, as kids, as adults, where they fit in that cycle. Let me ask you the question then. So what reaction do you get with people when you start to share this reality with them? What do you hear from them as they start to see where these pieces all fit together?
So I can say for the diagram purposes, it really brings it home where it's like, oh, okay, we get our water from Lake Erie, and then they have to kind of orient the idea of, there's a pump station that's pumping the water to their homes, the places where they're shopping, and then they start using it. And that's the part that we get excited about. So if you ever see Jessica and I in person, we're really excited about the part where people start using the water. That's when it starts to get filthy, dirty, and we have to clean it up. So that cycle is just an amazing orientation, again, of how water flows through our pipes. So we know that when you have your number ones, your number twos, you're brushing your teeth in the morning, everything that's going down that drain is all received at the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. And that's the part where we get in there and start doing the cleaning.
So Ebony, you had a good point there. Later this week in our broadcast, you're going to see Jessica and Ebony kind of walk you through some of those lessons that they share with kids. And it's a great way to understand how this water cycle really takes, how it takes shape in our lives day to day. Jessica, let me ask you the question. What are some of the most common questions that you get when you're out talking to students? What are the most common questions they give you as you're talking about the work that goes on at the sewer district?
Well, we always get the question of, can I flush my goldfish? And if not, what do I do with it? So we try to keep that very basic and simple with the kids. We also get questions once they kind of figure out the urban water cycle, like Ebony was saying, and that certain things go right out to, if it's, on the lawn, it goes right into the sewer. We get kids asking, I just lost my baseball last week. Did you get it? So we get those kinds of questions. But a lot of times we have to walk the kids through because they, I'll say, who's been to Lake Erie? And they'll say, oh, I went on vacation there, and they think of it as the ocean. So we have to kind of clarify that. But we get a lot of questions of, I flushed this on accident. Did you get it? We had one kid the one time who flushed his cell phone down the toilet on accident, and his mom was upset and wouldn't let him get a new one. And he wanted to know if we could find it for him and give it back to him. So that we kind of reiterate exactly how the process works, and that if it gets flushed, you don't want it back.
And it's good to know that not just kids call asking for things that have gone down the toilet. We have had calls to our customer service department from grown adults who are asking, there's something that I have flushed that probably shouldn't have been. Can you help me get it back? So it's not just kids asking those questions. We do get those as well from adults. Let me transition a little bit to talk about Clean Water Fest. This year's Clean Water Fest is an online experience. It's brand new. It's not what we're used to when it comes to our kind of outreach. We're really embracing it, and we see this as a great opportunity. Ebony, let me look back a little bit and talk about the Clean Water Fest that we have known and loved now for a number of years. Talk a little bit about what the Clean Water Fest experience is and why we've been doing it for so long.
I love that question. So we like to call it a fest because it truly is a festival. You know, if you think about a traditional open house where you open up your doors to have people just kind of see what it is that you do, our Clean Water Fest features a ton of our partners that are all in a business for clean water. So not only do you get to learn about what we do at the sewer district in terms of cleaning your water, but you also get the great interaction from partners like the aquarium and Science Center, the Metro Parks, and on and on and on, our soil and water districts, watersheds. They're all there present to talk about their work. So right now you're looking at Zach the Mad Scientist, and he's doing a few, experiences. How cool is that to happen? You get to play with pets and learn about how pets thrive through our environment and how important their habitat is. So it really is a time where you just get to have fun. You can literally get lost and spend a day here at our Clean Water Fest.
And what you see on screen, Jessica, go ahead. I'll talk a little bit more about this as you continue.
Well, just to add on to what Ebony said, it's also a great way for us as employees to brag about the work that we do, to share the work that we do. And, we have a lot of fun with it. We want folks to understand what it is that we do, why we do it, and why it's important. And because a lot of the stuff that we do, you're not able to see. So we try to have a glimpse of that at our open house, at our Clean Water Fest, so our employees get a chance to brag about themselves and the work that they do.
And the bragging isn't meant to be righteous. It's just meant to be, it's meant to showcase the fact that our employees love what they do. As you look at this type of footage, you see that employees take our work seriously. We who are here on this broadcast and the faces you're going to meet as we go through each day's worth of content here is really going to show the fact that we love what we do. And we're glad to work with you. We're glad to work and serve you as our customers and residents, or anyone who's just tuned in to find out what we're doing at the sewer district and why it matters. So I want to also then talk about what this year looks like. We can't have this type of in-person engagement. It's going to look a little bit different this year. But with these broadcasts, with the comments that we're going to be taking and the interviews with our experts here on site, this is going to be a fun time over the next few days. Jessica and Ebony, let's take a look at the next few days. What do we anticipate taking shape between the next 4 days worth of broadcasts? What do those look like? Let's talk about today. Today, we're just getting started with things here. So what can people expect to hear in day 2 as we transition to tomorrow's broadcast? What's that going to be all about for people?
Well, John, first, I just got to say, we decided to do this virtual Clean Water Fest because this is near and dear to our hearts. Ebony and I and a lot of other folks in our department, we spend all year planning this event, our live event, and we look forward to it. And when we knew with everything going on with COVID this year, we knew it wasn't going to happen. So we weren't just going to let it not happen. We had to bring it to in some way. And so here we are virtually. So the next couple of days are going to highlight various of our departments to show some of the work that we do and to give folks like a little sneak peek on our lab tours, our plant tours. The really cool thing with our virtual event this year is that folks are going to see things that they've never seen at our Clean Water Fest live. So you get to see different parts of the plant that you never would see on the tour, different parts of the lab that you wouldn't get to see on the tour. So that's really cool. And then you can revisit these links that will be sent out and rewatch them and share them. You'll get to see some tunnels and some really cool things with our sewer maintenance groups. Things, again, don't showcase the tunnels and all that stuff. You see the trucks and all that stuff at the actual event, but you'll really get a taste of what it is that they do and some behind the scene types of footage.
So really it's about giving that insight. So if we were to look at the next few days, we're going to take a look at each one and give a little bit of detail and a flavor for what's going to be taking shape. So as we look at day 2, our next broadcast following today is going to focus on kind of a Tours Tuesday. We're going to look at tours of our 2 most popular destinations as it comes to our Clean Water Fest. It's touring our Southerly Wastewater Treatment Plant and how it reflects the work that goes on across all 3 of our treatment plants every single day of the year. And we're also going to look at our laboratory and the work that they do to make sure that the water that we are treating is at the quality that it needs to be to keep our environment safe and to protect public health. So day 2 is going to be taking you through those facilities and giving you a better insight, talking with the experts in both of those areas to let you know a little bit more about what work goes on there and how it looks and what those days look like. That will bring us to day 3. And day 3 is going to be really a tunnels, trucks, and tools destination for Clean Water Fest. As Jessica said, it's getting to know the equipment that's being used to manage these systems. And again, letting you talk to and hear from those experts who are using this stuff every single day in a way that might surprise you. Ebony, tell me a little bit about what people are going to see on day 3 as well.
So one of my favorite days, I love the alliteration, tunnels, trucks, tools. It's like a little tongue twister. But when I think about the behind the scenes maintenance, even work of our sewer lines, like Jessica mentioned, I think the key word is our work is seldom seen by folks. So with the virtual Clean Water Fest, you actually get to see up close and personal footage of us doing the work. And it kind of showcases us in a different type of way that's going to be fun. Project Clean Lake is closely related to our tunnels. A lot of our deep storage tunnels is how we're keeping our Great Lake great and actually getting all of the overflow out of that system. So these tunnels and having a chance to watch what goes into making them, all those things are highlights of our work. We also have a cool fleet. So I know as a kid, I played with Tonka trucks. We have a cool fleet, and all of our vehicles, all of the trucks with our cranes, those different things that you're able to see in person, it gives you a chance to actually just get a visual on what it's like when you're actually in the field using it. So for me, the tunnels, trucks, tools is just an awesome day of exploration where you actually get to see the application.
And they've got stories to share. You got to see how this all takes shape. And the people who we're going to be talking to will be able to give you insights that you may have never heard before. So that'll take us to day 4. And day 4 is really a Clean Water Kids Day. And this is going to be one of our fun ones. Jessica and Ebony are going to be back to show you a little bit more about what takes place in classrooms when they're telling about the work that we do. But you're also going to see 2 of our favorite friends from our lab. We would say that they're mad scientists, but they're not angry by any means. These 2 folks who we're going to be showcasing here in our Lab Spectacular this year are Pete Riedish and Adam Beaker. Adam was at our open house last year, our Clean Water Fest last year. And so his new sidekick, Pete Riedish, will be there to give you a little bit of hands-on experiments and insight into the work that goes on in our laboratories. You won't want to miss that. That'll round out our week with day 5. And day 5 is going to be a field day Friday. And so we're going to give insights about our stormwater inspection team. We're going to give insights about our watersheds team and the work that they do in the field and how they, being present in the communities, are able to address problems directly. And that's a lot of fun to see some of our work taking shape and what it looks like in backyards like yours, in neighborhoods like yours. It's not just taking place at our 5 facilities. We are out and present in your communities every single day. And so it's important to see the faces that are doing that work and hear from them about the work that they do every single day. Let me ask this question to both of you then. So how do people get involved? What interaction can they have with us online over the course of the week that we're showcasing here in these broadcasts?
Well, first, they got to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, be part of our Instagram following. And, John G is the hands down best at our social media. So if you have a question or a comment, he'll get back to you. So along the week, if a question came up to you and you're like, I didn't even think about it that day, please share it with us on social and John will get back to you. We will have live Q&As each day. As you see, John is pointing out our handle at NURSD, #CleanWaterFest. But each day you'll be able to be interactive and have live Q&A with our experts for that day. So please, ask questions, watch us. And, if you have questions after next week, always reach out. We're always available to answer your questions.
Yeah, and you said it earlier that these archived broadcasts will be available for anyone afterwards. So the same day this broadcast airs, later that day you'll be able to go back and revisit these archives, and we will maintain our cleanwaterfest.com website the first time we have showcased our work in this way. Whether you're an educator, you're a parent, you're a student, you're a kid who's just interested in the work that we do, you'll be able to go back and see this work and be able to check out these videos afterwards, and we do hope you'll do that. Let me end our conversation with just a little bit of a storytelling opportunity that you may have. Jessica or Ebony, maybe Ebony will start with you. What are some of your best Clean Water Fest memories? This is an experience where we really do give people some insight that they may have never had before. what memories do you have? I've got one I can share here at the end we wrap up. But Ebony, what's one of your favorite memories from Clean Water Fest gone by?
So in the past, I'll share two quick stories. So one is I have an awesome picture of John G. with a poop. He has a poop bracelet that was done with balloons. So I'm like, how amazing is that? So in person, that's the kind of cool interaction you get to have. But, maybe you'll just have to do that project at home. But one of my all-time favorites is our bicycle tours. So it's something that we had launched. We didn't know how it was going to go over, but with our bicycle tours, you're also able to get a sneak peek at other parts of the treatment plant that you normally wouldn't get to see. And the part that I love about the bicycle tour is we actually go out on the towpath, which is right by Southerly, and you can see the effluent, which is where our treated water goes back into the Cuyahoga River. So right there, we have a conversation about the fish population and how the diversity has gone up over the years. So that's truly one of my favorite memories. Who would have thought touring on a bicycle for a treatment plant would be the way to go? So those are two of my favorite memories. John G. with his
and bracelet. As you're talking,
go ahead.
The bracelet's a good one, but I do want to showcase. We do have footage of that bicycle tour we also showed earlier. So
nice.
This is something that was new just a couple of years ago, and it was very, very well received. We can't wait to have our event in person again and welcome you back and welcome those riders back into our facilities. Jessica, what's a memory that you can recall from Clean Water Fest in the past?
I love the comments that you get from people right on the spot. We're all around, Ebony and us and you too, John, we're running around like crazy, getting things done on the day of the actual Clean Water Fest. But there's been so many times where it's been kids and parents and, all ages coming up to you and saying, oh my gosh, like I just went on that tour. I had no idea that much was involved. And we've had folks that have said, I've literally spent all day here and I want more. So I love the instant feedback that we get from people thanking us, and they come back every single year. We had a lady last year that's all proud of herself that she's taken the tour every year. So it's like that kind of stuff that people get excited because we obviously love our work. We obviously get excited about it. But when other people join in and get excited with us, that's what makes it all worth it.
And one of the ways that it's been a good event is when the parents walk out of the event and they just look exhausted because the kids had them running around for the whole event, bouncing from booth to booth and game to game and free ice cream and everything else. The parents are completely wiped out. And I, as a parent, certainly running the event and being present at the event, it's a long day. But for the parents who have come there to the beginning saying, let me give it a little bit of time and see what happens, they leave when we're closing the doors and they are just wiped out because it's been such an experience. And we love to see that. The story I like to share is the fact that last year we had a couple celebrating their 35th wedding anniversary at Clean Water Fest. They came to the event. The husband said, I really want to go to this event. And his wife said, well, you are my husband and this is our anniversary and we'll celebrate this way. I had never expected that. I would never expect that. But now I've come to not be surprised by anything that happens at Clean Water Fest because it is that kind of experience. And so we're very excited to be bringing you the experience in a new way this year. So no matter what age you are, start with that urban water cycle understanding and you'll start to see where you fit into it because all of us fit in that cycle. And as you see by the faces here on screen, you're going to see throughout the week, we fit in that cycle too. And we're proud to be a part of it. So I want to thank Jessica and Ebony. We're going to bring you back in a couple of days and have you talk a little bit about the work that takes place in classrooms. And we're going to take you back to our broadcast here momentarily. I want to thank you for joining us. Stay tuned. There's more to come.
Water is all around us. It falls from the sky, runs in the rivers, and flows in our sinks and down the drain. But where does it all go? When you flush your toilet, where do you think all the dirty water goes? Well, after it rains, you can see the rainwater along the curb and on the street. Where do you think that water goes? Let's find out about how the water cycle works. In cities like Cleveland and others across Northeast Ohio, water moves in a cycle called the urban water cycle. In our area, our water comes from Lake Erie and flows back into Lake Erie after it has been cleaned. So, how does the dirty water get cleaned? A wastewater treatment plant cleans dirty water, and it takes many steps to clean water safely. There are different steps to cleaning water. Let's find out more. Step 1. Preliminary. Preliminary treatment removes debris like litter, leaves, and rocks from the water. Step 2, primary. Primary treatment slows the water down to let solids sink to the bottom and grease float to the surface. Step 3, secondary. During secondary treatment, itty-bitty helpers called microorganisms eat waste that has been dissolved into the water. Step 4, disinfection. Disinfection removes germs called bacteria, making the water as clean as possible, right before the water goes back to our river and lake. So, who works with Wally? It takes many people doing many jobs to keep Lake Erie and the Cuyahoga River clean. How many people work with the sewer district? The sewer district has 800 employees doing more than 200 jobs, including scientists, maintenance workers, engineers, lawyers, computer programmers, and so many more. Think about all the ways that you use water each and every day. Let's name some. Brushing your teeth, flushing your toilet, taking a bath or shower, drinking water, and so many more ways. Every single day. So now you know where it all goes. All right, everyone, the Wally Water Drop Dance Party starts right now.
That body. That body. That body. Come on. That body. That body. Come on. That body. That body.
Welcome back to the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District Clean Water Fest studios. Glad you are here. I want to thank Jessica and Ebony for walking us through and having a conversation about what Clean Water Fest is going to be like this year and what it's going to be like this week. I'm very happy to be joined by Kyle Dreyfus Wells. She is our Chief Executive Officer at the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. Kyle, welcome to the broadcast. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, John. It's great to be here.
So we spent a little bit of time with Jessica and Ebony going through what the Clean Water Fest is going to be like this year, looking ahead. I want to start off with a question for you, kind of taking a step back and looking back in time. What is your first experience with the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District that you can ever remember? What would that be like for you?
So my first experience with the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District was actually coming to a board meeting. I was the executive director of the Chagrin River Watershed Partners at the time, and I remember actually signing in at the board meeting, not knowing that I was signing up to make a public comment. And then I was called on to make a public comment, and I was mortified. So that is my first experience with the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, other than just obviously being a resident of Northeast Ohio and being familiar with the work. But that'll always be in my heart, that feeling.
That sense of fear, I hope, is something that you've overcome over time. I think it certainly shows itself in the role you have today. So what did you ever expect where you were at that moment to lead you to where you are today? What's the relationship between those two events?
Well, I mean, look, I'm a huge fan of the public sector. I mean, I'll just put myself out on Front Street. I love public spaces. I love people working together as a collective community. I think that's what it's all about. You know, I think if COVID has really brought something at home, it's that we all depend on each other and that we all influence each other. And so in terms of, did I expect to be the CEO of the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District? No. Am I totally committed to making public space work for the good of all people? Yes. Is this a great job to do that? 100%.
I like the way you tied that in. And so that will lead me to my next question. You have a lot of interaction with the public. You have a lot of interaction with other utilities and organizations here in the Northeast Ohio area and across the country, really. When it comes to explaining our work, how do you keep it simple? How do you communicate our mission to the people you talk to? What does it look like when you're having those conversations?
So the thing that I try to point out to folks is that it takes a lot of effort, dollars, infrastructure, people working to take wastewater, stormwater, sanitary sewage from people's homes, from roads and parking lots, and to clean that to a level that we can then put it back into the Cuyahoga River, into Lake Erie, and if you're from another part of the country, back into the ocean. That is a huge effort, and really explaining to folks how complicated that is and how fundamental it is to us all living together and making things work. That's sort of how I try to explain it, because everybody can understand that and have that conversation. And then I also really try to emphasize to folks that, that they're all part of that system, and that the actions that you take on your own property and the way that you, handle litter and trash and those kind of things all really matter.
So you touched on a good point. This is really complex work. And over the course of this week and the course of these themed days we're going to be celebrating and educating, we're going to be really communicating the fact that there's a lot of complex work that goes into our daily responsibilities, and we've got to try to keep it simple, because that's the best way to get our message across. When you're speaking to the public about Clean Water Fest, this is a unique event that not a lot of organizations can pull off. What is this event? How do you communicate the value of this event to the people you talk to?
Well, so there's no greater way, I think, to learn than to actually be able to come and have conversations with folks on your own pace and ask your own follow-up questions. So this year, obviously, we're doing Clean Water Fest virtually, but we're still, you and the folks that you're working with are working very hard to make those opportunities available for people to question, for people to dive into those areas that are particularly interesting to them. I think, look, our work is complicated, but that is not an excuse. That's not something to hide behind. Like, we have a responsibility to communicate, because it's not really that complicated, right? Like, water runs downhill and we clean water, both wastewater and stormwater. And folks that are particularly interested, we can explain that and have a conversation back and forth and really help folks understand.
So how does that communication component fit into our mission? If our mission is to protect Lake Erie, is to protect public health, is to serve the community with the services that we provide, how does outreach and communication fit into that broader mission?
So it's foundational to the mission. As a public clean water agency, we have a responsibility to make sure that everything that we do is approachable, accessible, open, so that folks can ask the questions that they have, they can get the information that they need, they can challenge the points that don't make sense to them, maybe the expenditures that on their face they have questions about. That is a fundamental obligation of public servants, to be able to have that conversation and to make it easy for folks. I mean, I think that's key, right? Like, everybody's got a job, everybody's got worries, everybody's got things they need to do. We have to be as accessible as possible. And the thing that always strikes me is you don't know what you don't know. And if you don't engage with the public, people are going to ask questions in ways that we're just not going to think of. And so we need to have that conversation and those open communications so we can continue to evolve our message and our approach to the work.
I think you put it well, and it's not just about us packaging this event and then just simply releasing it to the public. It's about having that two-way communication and being able to listen to them and provide responses in the way that matter to them. And we are looking forward to doing that in a creative way this year. We want to thank you for your support along the way. For those customers who might be watching, for those residents, for the other fellow utilities who might be tuned in, just trying to see how this all works, we may even have educators and classrooms who are tuning into this content after the fact with some of our archive material.
Right.
What's the most direct message you want to share with them about the value of the work that's going on that they may never see underground, and recognize that this work is happening every day around them? What message would you have for them generally?
So the big message I would have is that Northeast Ohio is blessed with an abundant supply of clean, fresh water. This is an amazing resource that we have, but it takes a huge investment of time, resources, people to keep that abundant supply of clean, fresh water. This is not magic. This is regulation, funding, creativity, and hard work. And I really want folks to have the opportunity to dive into that message, to question around that message, and to learn more about the work that we do. It is a great organization, the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District. We serve a great region, a great community, and it's a big, big deal.
And that's what Clean Water Fest is all about. I want to thank you, Kyle, for joining us today to kick off this week. We're really excited about what we have in store over the next 4 days. So we want you to stay involved, stay tuned in, watch along with us. Those of you who are streaming right now, we look forward to joining you over the next several days to share this Clean Water Fest story and to be able to share the story that Kyle is talking about right now, the people, the projects, the programs that help to make clean water possible. So Kyle, thank you again. Those of you who are tuned in, thank you for watching today. Be sure to join us at noon Eastern Standard Time tomorrow for our next installment of Clean Water Fest. We're looking forward to that. We look forward to you joining us. Thank you very much.